Hey everyone, this here is an excellent set. I personally could not ask for it to be designed significantly better than it is for the wide range of folks it's made for. Give me a few minutes of your time and I will show you why. It's called the LEGO Friends Rescue Mission Boat, and it's pretty large. It's looking at over 16 inches in length, not including overhang, or around 42 centimeters if you compare it to the size of just a very regular minifigure, classic style of Lego minifigure. You see there's some proper bulk here. There's space for figures to do things up front, up top, inside, and around the back. Here there are a couple of lounge chairs, one on either side, and also some room for some drinks there, so you can just be taking it easy when you're on your way and not actively involved in any rescue of any marine animals. There's also this spot up here at the front that's like an observation miniature deck, complete with a small telescope that you can rotate around. Here is the bridge or the command deck. It is open at all times, so it just makes it easier for you to get people in there. There is space for at least 2 people. If you set them up right, you can actually have 3, with 2 on the blue seat back behind and the captain's chair there. I'm just going to actually take Olivia out temporarily so you can see the details of that a little bit better. It's got some nice space, a lot of controls. It's actually really well detailed, better than it needs to be, if you ask me. And like I said, you do have that space for additional passengers behind, so everybody can be talking together who's included in this set. I also appreciate how well detailed this is around the edges with the different striping of colors. You've got lights here at all 4 corners. This is a remote camera that you can rotate around and also angle it up and down. That's actually a pretty nice build. You've got this mast here with the communication antenna, I'm assuming, or possibly a radar on the top, if you can imagine that, spinning around. A couple of indicator lights, the flag up there, a little bit of texture. These are horns to announce your arrival at the dock or to communicate at medium long ranges with other boats out at sea. You've got this transceiver dish, you've got another antenna over here. All those are little details that don't really need to be there, but they add a lot. They make this feel more real, more believable, more present. And then when you come back here to the working deck, there's even more stuff, and it's very useful. There's even a spot with a small boat launch with a rigid hulled inflatable dinghy style of boat that actually can be launched out into the water. You push over here where my finger is, and it just knocks that out a little bit. If you do a little bit faster, then it'll just kind of propel it out. This has some small details in it with room for one single figure of mini doll to sit there, and also some probably like a salve, and I'm not sure exactly what would be in here, if that would be fresh water or some medical supplies to help an animal in need. Also a syringe there, a couple of stickers, and another light there on the front. This is a crane that actually works. I've actually got it set up wrong right now, but this is intended to be an animal gurney or animal stretcher, so you can pick up a fairly large marine animal. It's supposed to hook right there. This can rotate all around, so you can get it out over the side, over the stern, almost out to this side. If you just pull this a little bit farther out, then it will reach farther. But you also have the winch over here, which allows you to raise and lower this without directly having your hand on it. So that's a nice thing. You can bring it right down to the water like that. And then you can also bring it all the way inboard. The idea is that you would pick up an injured marine animal, for example, and then put it into this pool. This is supposed to be a treatment pool right here. They've got a small toy in there, or you can see that as possibly soap, but I think it's supposed to represent a toy for an animal, just like a mammal, to stay engaged while you're administering treatment. The water comes out here, so that would be seawater to be appropriate for the animal. And then there are some additional materials over here and supplies for doing your treatment and diagnostics. Those just all have clips on the side. You've got some personal flotation devices or life jackets. Again, enough for the full crew that's included with this set. And there's a spot for a drone. It is like a robot for traveling underwater, or at least on the surface, but I think that this should be able to travel underwater because you've got the sort of eyes for it right there, a couple of hands, and those can hold on to anything that mini doll or figure hands can hold, and it has this propeller. So you can imagine this floating in the water and just keeping itself buoyant, or it can turn and then move like a submarine, like a remotely operated vehicle. But perhaps it's autonomous, so it's able to actually scout out locations and help you with your missions. That is a sticker on the clipboard right there. I should mention that the ship itself, the main boat, is not able to actually float. This thing here is able to actually float in water, but the main one will sink fairly quickly. It's not watertight. It's also very, very top heavy. So if you could get it to balance, it could probably float for a little while, but there's just too much weight up above. Look at this though. This is where things get really, really good, because all of this lifts off as one assembly, and then you have access to this huge interior. They made such good use of the interior space, every single bit of it. Look at this. This is a lounge and or galley, kitchen and or lab space with a table in the middle. You can use that as a dining table, or you can clear it off when you need to and use it to help with various medical related activities you may be doing. There's storage space over on the side there with a full set of medical accoutrements with a couple things, small detailed items in there. These all just come together. Not the first time that they've included this particular pack of pieces in a set, but they do all fit inside. You get a laptop, and they're reviewing some video, presumably from their little drone robot. It's nice to get this in this purple color with a sticker as well. It makes it a little bit extra special. I think that's supposed to be a coffee maker there. I don't think it's a scientific instrument. I think it's a coffee maker. At least that's how I personally look at it, because if you look around to the other side, this is where more of the scientific stuff is. There's a microscope right there. These are a couple of jars or vials. Use your own imagination for what those would be. A suggestion of some drawers down below, but those don't actually open up. And then this is a nice thing. It's a small water tank, like an aquarium, that you can use for temporary holding of a small animal that you may be nursing or you may be learning about. So we'll look at more of the coral colored pieces, that nice red color that they include in this set that they've introduced for this year. And then there's more storage over here that actually works, that's useful. So you have a full piece of scuba gear here. They don't have the air tanks to go with this, but I guess you can just use it for snorkeling, but has the helmet there, and you can also lift up the front like a visor. You just pop that up. Works on minifigs and mini dolls both. And then you also have a underwater camera there with the sealed off lens, and a couple of dive fins are also in that space. So far, this all strikes me as a really, really good use of this space, with so many things for the figures or mini dolls to actually interact with. And it's made better by the fact that there's still room for you to put people in here. You can have them standing up, and look, there's room for plenty of them. You can even turn them side to side and kind of walk them through. There's enough room for that, and there's enough vertical room. There's enough headroom here that even when I bring all of this back, I can still have people inside standing up. I don't need to force them to sit down. There's plenty of headroom for there. So far, so very good. But I'm actually more impressed by the usage of space up here at the bow, because they go right out to the very edge of the large pieces that make up the tapered front of the boat, right to the very edge for the 3 beds. So again, accommodation for all 3 people who are included with the set, and one has to go a little bit underneath there, but still there's room, and all that space is used to the very, very, very edge. And if you look all the way back in there, there's even some storage space there for some, I'm assuming those are books that are just stacked up, and there's also a nightlight. There's also a photograph on the wall over here, and I may not have shown you this sticker here just to give you a little extra detail with some things that are pinned up to a cork board. But the last thing back there in the corner is the restroom. It's the head, as nautical terms would call it, and it has a door that's opaque. That's something that's so rare to see in Lego sets, even in full-on house sets or anything. If you get a door at all, usually it's something that's clear or it's always open. This actually gives you the suggestion of proper privacy, like you want to have for a bathroom, right? So that's there. There's the toilet seat. There's your toilet paper, and there's a sink back there. They were able to get all that stuff in there into this tiny space. Again, getting right up to the very edge of the large pieces that make up the shape of the front of the boat. That's just as good as I could possibly ask for. And again, there's all this floor space here. There's enough room to just grab somebody and, walk them around and have them doing different things, going from place to place. She will fit through the doorway there and pass her to my other hand. So all of this is designed to actually be played with, even though it's well enclosed. The only thing that I don't like here, that I wish was better, but I don't see how, given how well used the space is the green bed right there, which does require that a person lay on their side like that. She's not going to fit just on her back. She's not going to fit all the way. So in the other places, you could just put a mini doll right there, and it's really easy. But over here, you do have to lay her partially on her side. And it's fine, and especially if you have all three people here, they'll kind of brace each other just a little bit. It works, especially with the help of the rubberized hairpiece that provides a little traction, keeps her from slipping off. But it's just not absolutely ideal. So, things aren't exactly the same for all of the beds, all the accommodations here. In all, this is a rather large boat, but it's designed to be used from the very tip of the bow all the way back to the stern and beyond. None of this is wasted space. All of it is relevant. All of it is useful. All of it is interesting, in my opinion. And all of it is accessible to us as human huge figures and to the mini dolls that you're going to play with. Speaking of the mini dolls, here they are up closer. On the left is Olivia. I like to call her Olivia 2.0 because she looks so different from the original Olivia. I think it was silly for them to try to say it's the exact same person. It's just a different girl named Olivia. In the middle is Mia, and on the right is Andrea. They all have their wetsuits all set up. The hairs are nice and different between them. The color schemes are nice and different between them. Nice to see the teal color being used for Andrea over there on the far right. I think that contrasts pretty well with the kind of school bus yellow color. And these are pretty good figures. Here's one of the side builds for this set. It is a heart-shaped island, so you can see it's kind of upside down right now. If I turn it this way, it makes it a little bit more obvious. This is the base of the heart. It's just a small tropical island, and that pink thing with a horn on it has gotten trapped beneath a bit of shipwreck that evidently it was trying to swim through. Maybe the tide has gone down and now it can't get out. So that's one of your missions, is to come to this island and help this animal. What is this animal? Well, it is a very, very cartoony narwhal. That's what it's supposed to represent. Now, narwhals do not have horns. They have a tusk each, and the tusk comes out the front, not the top. But, like I say, it's very, very cartoony. Probably would have made more sense to make it a little bit more realistic. I think they still could have made something very, very cute and adorable that was just a little bit more correct. But for what it is, I think it does its job. It looks definitely very lovable. It looks like something that you would want to save. And it's interesting that they have a couple of these mini peg holes on the back, so you could attach small things like flowers or like bows or other accessories that would go into Lego Friends hair pieces. Those would be able to attach here. I wonder if they'll make another narwhal in the future with a different color or something. It would be really cool to see a baby version. I always like to see baby animals in Lego. This is interesting. The little bit of shipwreck here is something that you could actually grab onto with the crane in the boat. So you don't have to just pull the narwhal out. You could actually bring the crane up, use your hook, and pull all of this up and move it out of the way. That's pretty smart. Got a little bit of a built-up suggestion of an anchor there. That's actually pretty nice. And while you're here, as a little extra reward for your efforts in trying to save, animals that can't save themselves, well, first of all, you have a couple more of these nice coral red colored small pieces with the clam there, the shell, and also a starfish. But you also find a little bit of treasure. again, just as a reward. I'm going to pull off a couple of these planks. And inside a very nice vintage, still in pretty good shape, looks like, telescope. It's not the same as getting like a gem or anything. But then there's also this. This is something that's new for 2019. Brand new little cloth piece with nothing on it. Well, what they say on the box is that this is water reactive. Now, I personally have never tried this out. So I've brought to the studio a little bit of water in this upside down old Lego umbrella piece. And I'm going to experience this at the same time as you. I've never tried this. I don't even know what to expect. I'm expecting a map, but I just don't quite know. Oh, something's starting to show up. Hey, that's looking pretty cool already. All right. Oops, I just spilled all the water. Well, fortunately, it's just plastic down there. Okay, hey, it's working. I can just put it on there now since the water is here. I can start to see through it. Is it soaking in at all? I can see through it a little bit. Can you see through it? It's kind of difficult. There we go. There's a little bit of a pattern in it. Well, I was expecting this to be a treasure map, and I think that's exactly what it is, because right there is a suggestion of a heart-shaped island. It's just a little bit cut off, but that's the island where we found this piece of parchment here. And I think those represent, the X's represent the spots. So it's not just X marks the spot, it's X marks all of the spots where you can find different treasure. You see, this is the other side build in the set, and this is supposed to represent underwater ruins. And obviously there's a treasure chest back there, so this is one of the chests or one of the treasure locations referenced on the map. Each of the sets from this sub-theme for this year includes some form of treasure that you can find. Honestly, I feel like I didn't need the map because I kind of feel like you come upon this just on your way. But use your imagination, use it very strongly, and you can make a correlation. It would be a little bit better, I think, if you could actually use the map and look at its directions, you know, and set things up. If you got multiple sets, then actually set things up to look like the island chain, which kind of works, but I don't know. Anyway, this itself is nice, whether you care about the map or not. This is really nice. It includes the new coral piece, actual coral piece, physical coral piece in teal, a couple of them, and then the coral colored, what they call coral red colored accessories with some additional marine life with the fish there, snail, another starfish, another clam, and then a seahorse up there, and a small octopus that is guarding the treasure chest back there. I also like how this was built up, a little bit of soft coral, or I don't know exactly what that's supposed to represent, but definitely looks like marine life to me. And you can just come around the back to get a little bit easier access here. You can even pull out the entire chest if you want. It's just on a couple of jumpers. And there is the octopus that's guarding it. We saw a picture of this in the boat. Inside is the actual treasure that you really get. 3 gems that I'm assuming are, again, vintage and pretty valuable. So that's nice. I just like how all of this looks, and I like all the new pieces. And speaking of parts, here are the leftover or spare parts for this set, and there are a ton of them, aren't there? I mean, some of these are actually pretty nice, like a full set of extra gems. There's the third one over there. This gold unicorn horn piece, that's not very common. An extra life jacket there. There's some extra sunglasses. This is a piece that I guess you could put on the narwhal if you want, since it's a spare. This is a regular flower piece. Extra cherries, extra bow there. I mean, there's a lot of useful stuff here. Plus, the pack, little bag of marine life accessories in the coral red color includes these 3 extras, just as spares that weren't used for anything in particular, so you can use them however you want, wherever you want. If I could change anything about the design of this set, I would change very, very little. It's just fantastically well done. Excellent use of space. I like the colors. I like the overall just look of it, you know, at first glance. It plays really, really well with plenty of space for the people to walk around inside, outside, to interact doing actual missions. It has nice looking places where you can go. I think the narwhal is probably just the weakest thing here just because it's so weird looking, but it is definitely cute. I think the figures are done well. There are lots of accessories that are useful. That's an interesting build, an interesting thing to look at. That's an interesting feature. I don't know if it's done as best possible for this entire theme in terms of how the map itself is laid out and how it's not really that important to use it. And you don't really feel like you're following the map to find the the treasure pieces, but it's just a little thing to help you with imaginative play. So it's definitely not essential. This is very, very well done. I'm very happy with it. The price is $90 US. That's the suggested retail price. I do feel like that is a little bit on the high side. It's probably pretty appropriate for the overall size of the boat, which is pretty large, if you consider that all of this is usable space and all of this up here is also usable. Just considering all the things that are included, plus the two island builds for, well, I mean, one of it is, one is an underwater space, but, two small terrain builds that are interesting and have a lot of details. I personally would prefer to see this at $80 though. Just would make me feel a little bit better about the amount of stuff overall versus the cost. But if you do get this, even at full price, you're not going to get ripped off because it has a lot of long-term value, a lot of long-term use. You get a lot of play value out of it. At the very least, there's a lot of space to rebuild things, to customize things, to add to it, add another level, just add another level in between if you get extra pieces and stuff. It's a great starting point and not something that feels like it'll go out of style anytime soon. So that's it for my look at this wonderful product. If you want to see how this went together, the actual build process, I have the real-time pure build that I did with the sounds of pieces just clicking together. It's something you can kind of throw on in the background. I also have a faster version of that you can see over on my speed build channel. I will link to both of those in the end screen. Thank you very much for watching. Check out one of the builds if you'd like to, and I'll talk to you again soon.